That's not the cold open.
That's a shame. You'll never know what the cold open was. Because welcome back, Just Not Crick Pod. That's a good opening, isn't it? Oh, you got your water. Stay hydrated. You'll
Yeah,
be able to see Jamie this week, hopefully,
we'll try.
for some time before his camera breaks. But welcome to it's not doesn't feel very special. But welcome to our 1 year anniversary of Just Not Cricket. Have you had the best year imaginable, Jamie?
It's definitely been a year.
Hmm.
It's been 360. It's not been a leap year, has it? I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's been a 365 days.
Yeah, the best kind of years.
It's gone quick, hasn't it?
It's gone very quick. We've had a lot that's happened in the year. What's been your favorite thing that's happened in the last year? Feels like a end of year podcast, but here we are in March.
Cricket wise or just in general?
Cricket wise,
I
cricket wise.
oh, I mean the inception of Bazball,
Mm,
that first series against New Zealand was
yeah,
pretty wild.
that was good.
What else has happened?
England won the World Cup, T20 World Cup.
Oh yeah,
You know,
easy to forget about something small like that. Yeah, that was all right.
that's very good. We started the podcast. We started a TikTok. That was my high.
Yeah. I mean, getting a comment on a YouTube video, that's
That's unheard of, to be
massive.
honest. Yeah. My highlight might have been when I uploaded the YouTube short to our Just Not Crick Pod YouTube channel that did got like 2,500 views.
And we got
And
copyright infringed.
not that one.
No, okay.
Not that one. Several others, but not that one. But that one, this one's doing really well, and we got like 8 followers in about 2 minutes, and I was losing my mind. And then I went back next day, and then most of them are gone. I was like, oh, okay, bye. But
Oh
never
yeah.
mind.
Remember when Stuart Broad replied to it? That was only
Oh
like
yeah, that's also
two
up there,
weeks
isn't it?
ago. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like that was a series that happened in New Zealand that I've probably almost forgotten. Too much cricket. What are we talking about? So we've had a good year. I think, yeah, us starting a podcast and Bazball happening isn't a coincidence, I wouldn't say.
No,
Um, it would be quite interesting. I'm not probably never gonna do it, but like to go back and like listen to how dejected and how rubbish it was this time last year. I think I really remember us recording the episode whilst England were playing in West Indies and Leach was bowling and we needed like 5 wickets to win. And it was just so rubbish. It was just like this is gonna be draw, this is flat, this is bad. Um, it was obviously the beginning of it and for Roots Ignation. Remember that?
yeah.
Roots Ignation. That's a good one. Um, and yeah, how far we've come. And I say we because we're part of the whole basketball, which is nice.
It doesn't happen without us.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can look at
Um,
Rob Key becoming whatever his fucking title is,
whatever he's doing.
or like Brendan McCullum, who loads of people, maybe including us, were saying shouldn't get the job because it's his first main test coaching
Yeah, there's a
role.
lot of things I think we said early on were a bit it's probably gonna be a bit more dubious now.
Yeah.
Um,
Or like people saying maybe us again. Like who else is going to captain? It's only Stoke, but it's not because you want Stoke. It's just because there's no one else. And well, yeah, we don't look stupid now. Or
yeah, I remember I don't know if I've been proven wrong yet. Um, with Ollie Pope. I think I said last time he's doing well at number 3, but I feel like we're gonna go into second test chat because England lost a test. Wow.
what?
By 1 run, what a great game, which I've not almost forgotten, but I've almost forgotten. Um yeah, he was quite frenetic in that game. If memory serves me well. Like because Ollie Pope is a great player, obviously, because you're not gonna play England if you're not. Um, but people going on about Root having to change his game for Bazball. And I feel that Pope's having more of an issue than that than Root is. Because I feel like Pope is always trying to constantly force himself into the game and be like, I'm going to come down a wicket, I'm going to take steps forward, I'm going to do all that. And I just don't think that is his game. I think Gower said something similar. So maybe I'm just ripping off David. But Lord Gower there. But I think his game is better when he's more still at the crease and, you know, playing those great drives and stuff, those little whips. But yeah, just always at the beginning of the innings, he's always coming down, which I think is quite dangerous for number 3. But I think he's going to stay there. I can't see them making any changes. Yeah,
No, no, he's done well enough there to warrant to keep his place.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
I
yeah. I
think
think so.
I think it's fine to have one player at least in this setup to just be able to take their time and settle into an innings.
Yeah,
If there's going to be any place in the order to do that, it's probably number three. Like you can have your openers
yeah.
going a bit harder at it, try and put some pressure on the bowlers, and then if one of those get out, then the three is there to sort of settle you down. And I think that's what Pope needs to do himself a little bit. But like,
I think so. Yeah, because I think his best innings have been the ones where he's taken his time a bit. Because there was the one at Trent Bridge, obviously it's a bit flattish there. I was gonna say that we chased down like 350, didn't we? So, um, but he took a bit more time, as if memory serves me, on that one. And then he had one in, I think it was Durban in South Africa. Obviously they're completely years apart and stuff like that. But I just think he's more suited to that kind of watch it a little bit early on and then go for it. Because he's got the game to be aggressive, but I think when you're coming in, quite a lot recently in England times when you're 6 for 1 or something, against an attack which has got someone like Salby and Henry for New Zealand, then I think take your time. And I think Root's shown you could do that in that last test. He got 153, playing a very Root style classical test match innings, I would say, not going over a runner ball or anything silly like Harry Brook would done. And then, getting 90 odd. He sort of went back to his roots, and it's weird because Root was saying, no, I feel like I owe the team because I've not been, performing as well, but not performing to like his standards, averaging like 80 a year or something. So I mean, like, I don't really think you owe much, Joe. um, but it's good to see you still got the hunger there. Um, but yeah, I mean, you all know what the score was in this test match. You know what happened in this test match. New Zealand did win by 1 run. It happened a few weeks ago now, so we are very out the loop. So much apologies. But very briefly, what did you enjoy this test match? What you saw of it?
yeah, it was a bit mental, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I think the most I watched was the start of England's second innings, and I managed to catch all of the first 5 wickets. And I
yeah,
remembered why I don't watch it because I'm a jinx. But like of those
yeah,
5 wickets, I think Root was getting a bit more flack for the Brook run out than he should have. Like, I know Root is involved in a lot of
yeah.
run
I
outs,
agree.
but I
I
think
agree.
the other his partner, not necessarily Brook, it's just whoever else is batting with him, maybe respects him too much. So if Root says yes, they feel like they can't really
They've
say
got to
no.
go.
But like Brook is at the non-strikers end, and he can clearly see that ball is going to one of the slips.
Yeah.
He's got the right to say no, no, no. That's
Yeah,
fuck
it's
off, Joe.
classic.
Get back.
Yeah, it's classic under 11s cricket training. You say the person non-strikers, and if it goes behind the striking batter, it's your call. It's not the batter's on strike call. So that is Brooks' call to say no. You're joking. Forget about it. I think with that one, I think Bracewell kind of jumped out of nowhere to stop it. I think they were gonna thought it was gonna go between the gap between, I think it's fourth slip, third slip, and gully. So it was a bit of a narrow gap. So I think Root thought, oh, I've got that. But then Bracewell jumped out of nowhere and then cut off a gap that Root didn't think there was there to be cut off. So I can see what confusion happened, but I think it was probably more Brooks' call than Root's. And I think people were jumping on Root's back more because he has been involved in a few. So I would agree. I would agree with that. Um, what I quite enjoyed most, it's not all the kind of the drama and the sixes and Harry Brook going out naught of naught. It was kind of Stokes dropping anchor.
Mhm.
He got like 30 odd off about 100 balls. And I love it when Stokes does this because it's literally it is, and he's also kind of batting on one leg at the moment because his knee is an absolute nightmare. Um, but it's literally, it's kind of back to heavenly vibes, all that kind of stuff. It's literally over my dead body. It's kind of T20 World Cup stuff. It's like I'm gonna bat through, I'm gonna get there, be there at the end. Obviously didn't do it this time, but you watch him, you like nothing is getting through that. He had a few kind of edges and things like that, but it felt like one of those innings where he's like, no, I'm just gonna all the Bazball chat and all that is gone, and it's just Stokes blocking it. And I'm like, this is vibes I like a lot. I don't know why. In just all like the surreality and nonsense of everything that McCullum and Stokes have done, just to see Stokes get 30 of 100 balls just felt very like This is vibes that I like.
It's just the
Out the
complete
ordinary.
juxtaposition of it. Like,
Yeah,
this fastball sixes and fours is brilliant, but like,
yeah,
I really like them not doing it. I like them just blocking every ball and saying no.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
oddly satisfying. I don't
yeah. I
know
know.
what it is. It's this like the turgid stuff in the middle that we used to play with
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
well balling. And like you say, like he didn't get us there, but like we were only
Got us one run.
we were 2 runs off getting the win. So
Yeah.
it,
So yeah, I think people have made a lot more bigger deal of it than it should have been because it's one run. It's not like they lost by an innings and 50, and Stokes McCullum won 11 games out of 13 or something. So I mean, I think it's cool thy jets on this. Like it's fine. Like it's one run. I would have loved Anderson to hit the winning runs though. That is something that I was. There was a shot he hit for four where he just comes down the wicket and smashes Wagner for four, and the cheer of that is equal to that of Headingley when Stokes hits the winning runs. I It would have been double that if he got the winnings up. I was absolutely gutted because you obviously had the whole drama. The ball before he got out probably should have been a wide, because it was a short ball went over he's a left-hander like me, so went over that shoulder above head height. Should have been a wide, and you'd have thought any other time of the game that's probably getting called. But there's two to win. The umpire's like, do I call a wide here? It's when it's kind of feels like a marginal one. But I've again seen much chat about people kicking off about that, but it's not the end of the world. It's one run. It's one run. I don't mind.
I mean, would you bring something in that similar to like the no ball always being watched? And like we've got tram lines for the
Yeah,
literal wide.
yeah,
Should there not be something for
I
the
think so.
height wide? Like
Yeah, I don't understand why it's not. I
because
don't. I don't get why.
you can understand the umpire not calling it on the field.
Yeah,
It's split second, so he might not have judged it right
yeah,
at that moment. But if
I
it's a
agree. Yeah,
wide, it's a wide.
yeah,
But
yeah,
someone should be calling it.
yeah. When you've got the technology there to prove that, that should just be what it is. Waist high full tosses and stuff like that should just be done, and then it's just decided by the umpire. I think there was a lot of circumstances in the recent Women's T20 World Cup, which Australia won because, of course, they did. Um, where there were a few umpiring errors. I can't. There was a specific one. I'm struggling to remember what it was, but it's something that could have so easily just been fixed by the third umpire, just radioing through, being like to the standing umpire, "You got that wrong. You just need to reverse your decision." I just don't like how cricket is so like set in its rigid like ways. You can't stray off this narrow laws of the MCC. um how dare you think of making the game more easier to understand for people, or take decisions, leave the umpire to do the difficult decisions of LBWs and all that kind of stuff. Not Yeah, it annoys me. I agree. I think that should be out of the umpire's hands, and then I guess that leaves a bit more controversy, I suppose, but it probably was a wide. But at the end of the day, seeing those kind of scenes in New Zealand was still great. um Leach almost got his second most famous one not out. He is one not out of 31 balls, but just not quite quite there at the end. Um, we all move on because obviously it's old news, but the one person I also want to mention is Ben Folkes. He got 35, and he batted really well with Leach at the end, um, but obviously didn't quite get it done with about 7 to win. Do you reckon that has any? It's only one run they lost by, but would you say that has any standing with what happens next? If he had won the game and Folkes had been the person to steer England through, would his position have been more safe? Or do you think because he didn't win it, it's more likely we can bring Johnny in now? Or is that too old England thinking? I'm playing devil's advocate,
Yeah.
but here we are.
I don't think it would change whatever decision England are going to make about Bairstow either way.
Okay.
I don't know what that decision is. We've talked about it.
Yeah.
I'm at the point of saying maybe Bairstow should open. because
He's going that way.
yeah, I mean, Folks is our best keeper. He's batted fairly well recently.
Yeah.
He got us close enough to winning.
Yeah.
Like even with like 10 and 11 in bat, you can get a few lucky runs somewhere. Like you can't put the defeat on him, but
I don't think so. Yeah. No, I enjoy playing devil's advocate, but yeah, no,
honestly,
I agree.
I, I, it's who knows what's happening. I can't tell you. It's so
It's
hard, so hard.
yeah, it's like one of those where you think like, oh, someone does get injured, but you know, I would. There's going to be people not available for that Ireland test because of the IPL. Stokes is coming back, but you would say that potentially Brook isn't going to be there. Um, and then if Bairstow's going to be at the IPL as well. So it probably means there's going to be one more opportunity for Crawley against Ireland, and you know he's going to get like 210.
Now he's going to get like 70, and England will feel like, oh,
Yeah, he's
there's
back.
a bit of a resurgence coming, and then it'll get like 20 against Australia.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I did a little post out a while ago about potential candidates. I think it's between four. I don't think it's going to be anyone else. I think it's going to be obviously Crawley, Bairstow, um, but then I've seen a lot of people talk about Stokes, um,
Yeah,
and
the
then
captain.
yeah,
I okay, we can rule that out.
I can understand the logic because he probably has one of the best techniques in the team. And are you getting enough out of him with the bat at 6'7"? And also is he going to do? I want Stokes middle order. That's where he bats best. But I can vaguely see the argument smashy smash. You've got Root who's opened before, but you're not going to move Root from 4. And then you've got Pope who's free, and is there much difference between free and opening? But I think it's Bairstow Crawley, isn't it? I can't see any other thing. And Bairstow coming in isn't. But then do they move Bairstow? This is old ground. They move Bairstow from 5 where he's been most successful. But yeah, I think Bairstow v Crawley is the shootout.
I mean, someone is going to be doing something they're not totally comfortable with
Yeah,
if Besto comes in. Like either Besto comes in for Folks and either Besto or Pope or Duckett will keep, which doesn't help their batting. Either Besto comes in to open, Besto opens ODI but doesn't first class, or not that I'm aware of.
yeah, no,
So he's not comfortable with that. You're not moving Root or Stokes. I don't think
no. Okay,
Stokes will ever entertain the idea of that.
he did open once, Stokes, in a game we've probably forgotten against West Indies during lockdown,
Yep,
where we were
I
setting
have
up a
forgotten it.
declaration. We were setting up a declaration, and he got like 80 off 40 balls or something like that.
I mean, I wouldn't have been
Means
surprised if you said Besto opened in that as well. Like it feels
that
like
it's Stokes and Butler opened that one.
okay,
And Butler
so
got out for an ought.
I mean it's tricky, isn't it? Because you
Yeah,
can't the straight swap would have been Besto for Brook, but
yeah,
Brook's been
undroppable.
otherworldly.
Yeah,
So you're making a decision that sort of makes it awkward for someone in some aspect, and I don't know what the right answer is or what will happen.
I think fundamentally, um, whoever comes in for Crawley, if Crawley is dropped, is only going to do as well as Crawley has done. I think that's the best way you can look at it. I mean, if Crawley plays, he'll carry on doing Crawley stuff. Whoever comes in, replaces him, is not going to do any leaner than what he's achieved. You know, Bairstow coming will probably get a couple of 50s if he has a bad series. Stokes opening will definitely get as many runs. So, like, I don't think it's the end of the world if you have someone out of position opening because the middle order is just so stacked.
Yeah.
But yeah, we sorted it. So there
Cool.
no drama, anyone. Um, do you want to talk about one day international cricket?
Sure. That happened, didn't it? That was
Yeah, it did.
yeah.
Um, do you want to give us a quick rundown of what happened?
Okay, England won. England won. England lost. Roy is weird. Salt is not the answer. Jofra was back for a little bit. Curran's probably the best bowler in the world in white ball cricket. Shakib,
Yeah.
the first Bangladeshi player to score to get 300 ODI wickets, which clap. Um,
Clap.
Milan's all right, isn't he? Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I
I think
think
that's
that.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I was looking at the order for the third game, and I was thinking we feel a battle light. I wonder when Stokes is getting back. I remember not.
he ain't. No. Obviously the two main people you're missing here are Bairstow and Root. Um,
Oh,
they
that's the
would
question. Do you think Root should open?
in ODIs.
Yeah.
He has done it before. I can take you back to 2019 in the World Cup where Roy got injured and fun game. He opened with Bairstow. I think Root got 100 and then Wokes batted at 3 and got 40. Oh, my brain is full of pointlessness. Um,
That's what this pod is. Full
yeah,
of
love it.
pointlessness.
Oh God. I don't think it will open. I think he goes back to 3. I think Bairstow and Milan open.
Okay.
I think Roy's done good. He's got 200s in the last 2 series. But I think in India, I don't think his game is well suited. As harsh as that sounds, I don't know if that's harsh or that's true, but I think he got obviously that 100, which is great, clap clap. But you feel like most opposition, as soon as Roy comes in, they bring on a left arm spinner.
Mhm.
And the first game that sort he was found out pretty much straight away. Happened a couple of times in South Africa. I'm gonna say he's not in the T20 side that's staying in Bangladesh, so he's obviously being completely cut off from there now. I just think from what Matthew Mott has said, as obviously the white ball coach, he's kind of saying leaning more into the old circumspect way of playing 50 over cricket for this World Cup because you're not necessarily going to have the fast, bouncy, high scoring run pitches all the time in India. Like I remember the last World Cup, there was a few low scoring thrillers. And you just need to see what the wickets are doing in the current test matches. That they're going to spin. It's not going to be easy to score sometimes. And do you want it's the flip side. Do you want someone like Roy who may struggle against that, or could pull out a couple of worldies and get 200s in the World Cup and then be a real good over? It's tricky, but I think they'll probably go Bairstow Milan.
I mean, the issue with Roy is that he's just been so hot and cold. For every
Yeah,
100 he's made recently, there's been one, two, or three lowish
yeah,
scores. It's inconsistency is the main problem, and you can't really have
yeah,
that if you're opening every game. And it's kind of weird that we're preparing for a World Cup when we don't theoretically have either of our opening batsmen playing,
no,
at least in as openers, because
yeah,
Malan's been playing three. He got was it 100 in the first game?
yeah. Very good 100 in the
Yeah,
first game.
it's a weird. It's, our ODI team's in a weird spot at the minute.
Big old flux.
Yeah,
Sam Curran's good, isn't he?
yeah, it's all right.
Yeah. Do you have anything to say about Sam Curran?
He's probably from literally nowhere, as in nowhere being like the last a year ago, the best white ball bowler in the world, which is
Be
weird. Like,
cool.
was it? Oh, there was a World Cup last year, not last. They all
The
just
T20 World Cup,
no, I think before that.
the other T20 World Cup.
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably that.
There's been two T20 World Cups since the last 50 over World Cup.
Yeah. Did he play in
So
the?
he was player of the tournament in the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did he play in the one before that? I cannot remember
I don't think so. I think he's
okay,
injured.
because he was not on anyone's radar. I think going into that World Cup,
Yeah, no,
and it
100%. Yeah,
and he
definitely.
completely smashes it,
Yeah.
and he just keeps on smashing it, and I don't know how it happened. It
Yeah, because you look at him, you feel like you shouldn't be this good. As bad as it sounds, you feel like, you're bowling like mid 80s. quickest. But he just managed to get people out. Like 6 wickets this series, I have an average of 13. He had that World Cup last year in Australia. I think he's really found his stage. He went for millions in the IPL auction. Obviously, Joss put him up to 5 yesterday as well, which is obviously that shows how much, confidence and whatever they have in him to going forward and how much they want to see him progress. They see him as a batter as well as a bowler, which is very cool. But yeah, it's just going strength to strength. So I wonder how again, it's sort of like the test team. With the test team, you're trying to work out how you get all the batters in. With the ODI team, it's more about how you get all the bowlers in. Because I'm wondering who starts in the World Cup, because you've got Jofra, you've got Wokes, you've got Topley last year, who got the best figures for a English bowler in ODI cricket against India. You've also got Sam Curran, you've got Rashid, you've also got Mo. Obviously, it's in India, so you're probably going to need both of them. Ollie Stone is back around. You got Saki Mahmood. You got Mark Wood. So, when we went to the last 50 World Cup again, I think you just said it's this team is very fluxy. Like, before the 2019, Bairstow and Roy had been smashing it around for a couple of years. They were very settled. The bowling attack was very settled. It was only Archer who came in for David Willey on like the eve of the World Cup. That was the main change. But otherwise, it was Plunkett, it was Wokes, it was Wood, it was Rashid. It was very much that as our team. But this 50 over team, it's got a lot of strength in depth, but I don't think it has a lot of identity. Is my feeling.
I get what you mean, and I think you want 5 bowlers with the 5th being a bit of an all-rounder. So with all of those you've named, you've got to say Rash, Mo, and Curran are the nailed-on ones.
And
you can say either Curran or Mo is that all-rounder.
Yeah,
basically, they can both do a bit. Honestly, I don't know.
Because you're probably gonna have Livingston around as well, because he's leggy spins.
Yeah, and he'd be like just come in for an overall there.
Yeah,
if you need it.
Root.
Yeah, in like the best world, it would be Jofra and Wood to finish it off.
Yeah, pace.
Yeah,
but do you need 2 paces in India? I guess is the question.
I mean, it would be complemented by the 2 spins and the lesser pace of Curran, and Jofra bowls some good slower stuff, so he doesn't have to be bowling at that pace all the time.
No.
I think the only issue with both of those is their fitness and whether they can play ODIs
back to back. Yeah. In the heat in India and everything. Yeah. But I will say it is just great to see Jofra just back.
Yeah.
Like, that's another really good series he's had. He got, I think it's 5 wickets at 14, going at less than 4 and over. In those conditions, which obviously very, very similar to India, just shows how much of an asset he is. Rashid coming back to strength as well. So he was the player of the series, 8 wickets at 14. And it looked like Bangladesh really didn't have a clue most of the time, I'll be honest. Like, especially with his kind of googlies. And I think, it wasn't long ago, I think during the last T20 World Cup, not the last one, but the last one, where I think we were saying, has he passed his best? I think we were going on about that because he wasn't getting the wickets he was used to. But just seeing him coming back to strength is good for English cricket. Yes.
Yes, I didn't completely zone out towards
Adil Rashid is good,
and
I am happy he is good again. He is back.
I think, like, judging on the last T20 World Cup,
yes,
Wood will probably be more of a mainstay as a 4th bowler, and then like towards the end of qualifying, he'll get a rest here and there.
Yeah, it
And then
all
it'll be like
depends.
a
Yeah,
horseable course for number 5, and you can probably fit Joffre in there.
yeah.
To,
It is a big summer because I think that both Joffre and Wood are IPLing. I'm pretty sure. Then you've got Island Test. You've got 5 Ashes tests. Then for some inane reason, you've got about 10 white ball games in September. Then you've got the 100. So you've got all of that before the World Cup. I think it's in October. So I think one of those bowlers out of the group that I mentioned will not make it through that without injury. I think it's very unlikely. But you're going to hope they're all fit. So what I thought we would quickly do, I think as we've done before, um, if everybody is fit, who is going to be our starting 11 for that 50 over World Cup? Have you
that's
got
a
notes?
good question. No.
Well,
I've got the scorecard from the last 3 ODIs, so
excellent. That's all we need.
who knows?
Um, so I'm going to say that Stokes is remaining retired.
Yeah, I think that
Yeah,
might be pretty cool.
no.
Yeah.
So Bairstow is going to take first ball.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Now Milan or Roy?
I want Root.
Would Milan be at 3?
Yeah,
Okay, so we're saying Milan and Root are in the team. That's fine.
they're
We can be
one or the
flexible.
other.
Yeah, that's fine.
You want Milan to open and Root at 3. I want it the other way
Yeah.
round. We'll compromise and say they're in the team.
Okay. But a quick note on Milan, he averages 54 in ODI cricket after 18 games, which is pretty good.
Mm.
Um, so Milan Root, and then 4. Um, so I think you could go Brooke or Butler or Livingston.
I think Brooke, I think it's too early for either Butler or Livingston to go in there, unless you want to, like, you obviously want a flexible batting order, but
Yeah,
seeing, like, if you're working on the assumption that everything's going to plan, you'd want
yeah,
Brooke to go in next.
yeah. I think so. I think it was Vince in this series, but I can't see Vince. It just feels a bit like a. I feel really bad for James Vince because I do. I mean, I do and I don't because he's had so many opportunities, but he's had so many kind of fragmented opportunities. He's never had like a run. He's always come in for like the odd series and bizarre circumstances. Like he had the Australia series after he won the T20 World Cup, which was pointless. But then he wasn't picked for South Africa. But then he was picked for this. So it's sort of like I don't what you it doesn't really seem fair, but whatever. Sadly, I don't think Vince is in. Um, so I'd say Brooke 4, Butler 5, or Butler
I
6.
I think the next 3 spots are basically floaters
Lexi, yeah, okay,
between Butler, Livingston, Mo,
yeah, okay,
maybe
Butler
even
Livingston,
Curran,
yeah,
but I would put Curran further back
yeah,
anyway.
okay, okay. Let's say Butler Livingston Mo.
So that's
That's
7.
5, 6, 7. Yeah, Curran 8.
I mean, yeah, you're not having him, are you? You got
No, this is a big call. Rashid 9.
yeah, I think so.
And then do you want to go? Are you want to go Joffre Wood or do you want Wokes in there? Do you want Topley in there?
It's
Because I think those are your 2 places for those 3, I would say.
If we're picking for the first game, I think Wokes,
Yeah,
then one of Joffre or Wood.
I would lean to Joffre because I feel like Wood's probably more likely to play tests than Joffre is at this stage. Um, so yeah, I'll say Joffre.
Yeah, I think either way, it gives you the option for the game after to either play both of them or to take
Yeah,
one of them out to do a straight swap.
I agree. Cool. I think we sorted it.
Yeah,
That's a settled ODI team, I would say.
we're the selectors now, basically.
Yeah. Though Brooke has only played 3 games in 1-day cricket, so is he going to be found out? We'll see. But I
I mean,
think
when was the
go
last
for it.
time Bairstow Root played a 1DI ODI?
I honestly don't know when. Root would have been, I think, in the summer.
Last
But
World Cup?
I mean, I got married around that time, so I couldn't really care less at the time. But I think in the summer, I think. But Bairstow, I don't think played in those. I don't know. I think they're good enough. I
great
think they've
warm up
earned a
for a
go.
World Cup, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just
Get Craig
who
Overton in.
who wants a fucking game? Who's up for this?
Bring Dennis back.
Tom, you want a game? Yeah, all right, mate. Jacko, do you want?
Don Best, bring him in.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's fine. And then you got like Sakib and Topley and um you can have like Duckett and stuff, I guess, and the fringes and Roy. I'd take Roy. I don't know if I'll play Roy.
I wouldn't. Yeah, why not? Take him in the squad, but
Yeah.
I
Okay,
wouldn't
that's fine. No.
put him in the 11 unless we needed to.
Yeah. But still a long time to go. And we've got a lot of ODI games to play for that World Cup in September. That's it's so point. How do we have an ODI series now and then not next one until 6 months time? With so much cricket, and then you only got 50. But never mind. I digress. But yeah, so that was a good series win. I think especially because I think Bangladesh have won a lot of their last home series against good teams. I think India have lost here a couple of times. Um, I think it's a very good win for England, and I think it's no longer just Bangladesh. They're a very good team at home, especially against the likes of Shakib. So I think that's a good win with not a full strength team. So I'll give that a thumbs up from the Just Not Great pod.
They're definitely one of those teams that can like trip you up as well. They've got, I feel like they're improving as well. It's like Mustafi's Litunda, his
Yeah,
time, Iqbal.
yeah,
Shakib doesn't stop.
no,
Like they've got a
no.
really solid team, and I wouldn't be surprised if they beat us or like India or whoever
I'd imagine
in
they'll
a
do well
one-off
in the World
game.
Cup. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. But yeah, cool. Other cricket, other cricket going on, I guess. It's always going on. As mentioned, Australia won the Women's T20 World Cup, which is a bit of it's well done, GG's. But like, it's kind of they are just so good. It's just like, is it? You always want to win cricket, but at the same time, are they too good for everyone else now?
Like, is it healthy for the sport to grow
Yeah,
if one
because
team is so
yeah,
far ahead of the others?
because South Africa played really, really well in the semi to beat England. I didn't think England really played well at all in that semi, but they played well in the series leading up to it, in the tournament leading up to it. But and it was great for South Africa, especially for a home tournament. Um, but it's kind of the teams you expect all the time. I guess it's all to do with boards and money and infrastructure, supporting women's game and all that kind of stuff. So but yeah, it's you feel like something needs to happen in sport. And they've got the women's IPL going on at the moment now, which is great. I can't say I've watched a lot of it, but I don't watch a lot of the men's one. But I would say the women's IPL feels at this stage more beneficial for the women's game than the men's game. Because you're getting all these players from across the world playing in a big franchise tournament. That's only going to improve the women's game, and you'd hope other teams as well as Australia. But at the moment, it is mostly the Australian players just bossing the IPL there. So who could have seen that
Oh,
coming?
who knows?
But no, it's been a long time, probably too long time coming. But yeah, I see a lot of people raving about it, and it's the crowds have been great. And that's what you want to see for the women's game. So it's a good couple of months for women's cricket, but it's a lot of cricket. What else has been happening? The PSL is happening apparently. Pakistan Super League. They're on to their 24th match. I guess it's a bit of a note to say I've not watched any, but
Who
players
has?
such true. Oh, true. But players like Sam Billings and Alex Hales have chosen this over going to England touring Bangladesh. Um, we've discussed it before, franchise cricket, but it is a bit of a testament to that. I mean, Billings came out, I think it was today or yesterday, saying, I think he's kind of almost ruled himself out for playing for England again, just because he said, I've ran drinks for 8 years. I just want to play cricket now. And it's similar to James Vince. I just respect that, Yeah, you can't just always be that fringe player and then expect when you get one game in a series to make an impact, and you don't, shockingly. you then don't play again for another like 5 games. So I mean, I get it. I get it a lot with Billings, and I feel a bit bad for Billings, and he has committed to playing for Kent all season rather than go to the IPL and run drinks again. So he could potentially push a test case from there. But I get that with Billings. I don't really get it with Hales when he's just come out of the T20 team, and he's definitely the, you know, the guy with the shirt, if that is the phrase used. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but whatever. I mean, for Billings, I sympathize a lot, and I sympathize a lot kind of like Vince as well. But yeah, it's the state of franchise cricket. We've not discussed this before.
IPL special when?
We'll do the women's IPL special before the other IPL
Oh, yeah.
special.
We'll do a roundup for the franchise.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, what your do you have any thoughts on that? I that's most of the cricket's been happening. Anything from you on that?
I mean, on the Billings thing, like he's never really felt like part of the team, and I getting the vibe that he feels that as well, and he's just fed up with it a bit.
I can understand.
I think with Hales, especially after how well he played at the World Cup and the white ball stuff prior and leading up to it, I'm surprised he wouldn't want to make more of a stake in the ODI team.
Yeah.
In an ODI.
Especially with Roy, like you could have come and play the series ahead of probably Phil Salt. If you got loads of runs, then that's pressure galore.
Yeah. I didn't really want Hales back in the T20 team, like leaving cricket stuff aside.
Yeah.
I just get bad vibes from him, to be honest. I'm not like he's a good player, but I don't know. I just have, that sort of bad feeling.
We've spoken about it before. It's
it's not like a tangible thing.
Yeah, it's a tricky one because he's obviously one of England's best white ball players. But what's he like as a bloke? Yeah. And what is it, image over performance? And you'd say England at the moment they go performance, but then for him to then say I don't want to play, it's a bit of an awkward overpass. But we'll see. I don't think he'll play in the 50 over World Cup. I think he'll be in the T20 team, but I don't think 50 overs. Very briefly, Australia won the third test against India, in case you missed that.
I did miss that.
Yeah. Steve Smith captained that game because Pat Cummins had to go home because his mother.
Is that sacked in disgrace for bringing the sport into disrepute?
Oh yeah. This is like his third game captain in the test team since that's happened.
I think it's just worth bringing up again.
I did. In case we missed it, I don't know if people saw it the first time.
I swear I might not have said it on the pod, but I said to you before, I think he became vice captain to Cummins at some point.
Yeah.
I think I said that, like, I feel like this is their way of bringing him back into the fold to become captain again.
I can't, sort of,
like, ease him into the public eye. It's like, oh, he's only taking over for this game. And then, like, before you know it, he'll be Australian captain again.
I would be very surprised.
I know, it's a very cynical view, but...
Yeah. I think it's weird. This is into Australia talk, and I feel like if we do have an Australian listen, let us know. But I feel like that is what the old guard of Australian cricket, who seem to know all, even though they've never watched a game in India in their lives, they would probably be the people being like, we want Steve Smith captain because he won one game in India. And it's like, this is not the way, guys. I mean, they play well, but again, I'll give you the scores and you can tell me probably what happened. India batted first. They got 109 all out. Australia 197 all out. India 163 all out. Australia 78 for 1. So you could say the pitch was doing a bit.
Yeah.
So Australia won just before lunch on the third day. So it, didn't last 3 days.
I mean, India like their 3-day tests, though, don't they?
Yeah, but it backfires a little bit there. But yeah, it kind of that's the comeuppance you want, and it's like, nah. That's what you want. It's just like, yeah, but yeah. So Cummins had to go home because his mum is currently very seriously ill, so he's going to miss the fourth game as well. So Smith will captain that one too. but you'd imagine when Cummins come back, he'll just go straight back into the captaincy. I think he's good for this team, but we'll see how it goes. India is a bit of a shambles. Like it's just not good. Maybe it's a bit of the we've already retained the trophy. Who cares? But it just looks the pitch got rated poor, which I think is quite a big move from the ICC, who normally just live in India's pocket. We're going to get a lot of comments now, but like,
Bring up that engagement, please.
yeah, God's sake. But it's. I think everyone's saying it. It's just like I don't. You have Ashwin, who's got his own little YouTube channel, Drive a Laugh, who comes out and always say, because he likes to rile up people, Ashwin. I don't know if you noticed it. But you know, he's always saying, "Oh, what makes a good cricket wicket? Oh, it doesn't matter. You can't define one, blah blah blah." But I would say this is crap. Like straight away, that first over, you've got balls bursting through the surface, all that kind of stuff. A team out of 109 on the first day, and it's if this was a one-off, like sometimes in England, you know, you might have a session where a team gets bundled out for nothing, but that doesn't happen every game. In India, it's nearly every game, if not every other game. And it's just like I think this series this fourth test starts this week. Out of a possible 15 days, I think they've had 10 or 11. That's a lot of days dropped, I reckon.
Like, do you think that's like a bit of negligence to the pitch? Are they ignoring the groundsman work? I don't think that's happening. Or are they like leaning into making those pitches like that so they can lean into like the shorter format of the game? So,
or maybe, I mean, yeah, they definitely, I'm not going to say doctor the pitch, but when they doctor the pitch, I think the groundsmen are heavily involved. There's definitely discussions of what pitches they want. The most hilarious thing I think from this is bantering from India. I think that first game where I think I showed you this is when Australia lost and lost heavily. They wanted to use the pitch the next day to train on, so they could have a bit more time acclimatizing. They turn up the next day and the groundsmen are watering the pitch, which I think is great. But it's just, I mean, it's the hardest place to win, mainly because it's those conditions. I guess you want to be tested as the cricketer, but surely, I take for example, I don't know, the New Zealand game. It was green as anything on that first day, and you know, wickets galore. Then it flattened out a bit. Then Leach got wickets, and then it was equal between bat ball on the final day. That to me that showcases that's a pitch that changes a lot. A pitch that changes a lot doesn't have to be like breaking up from day one and then a minefield on day two. That's pointless. But then Rohit Sharma just said something pointless like, "Oh, you know, people complain about boring test matches in Pakistan and stuff, which is a bit India Pakistan stuff, which is very cheap. And at least we're making exciting cricket." And I'd say this is not exciting cricket. This is bang average. It just makes it look like club cricket. This is my India Australia Ryan IPL special. I just think it's bad for the game. I mean, I think India are a fantastic team, Indian friends. And they are definitely going to play Australia in that World Test Championship final. And I think it's going to be interesting to have them both play each other on a neutral venue. And that's going to be very interesting to see who acclimatizes best. Yeah, it's going to be at the Oval. So I think that'll be fun. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if India win the last game 3-1. But Rohit did say jokingly a couple of games ago, let's make a green seamer for the last pitch, basically for lols. It's like, okay. So yeah, good times there. That's mostly all the cricket controversy and stuff. There is the Azam Rafiq trial and stuff going on, but that is a bit heavy for, I'd say, our little happy podcast. But obviously we don't
for our anniversary
podcast. Happy anniversary. I forgot about it. I keep forgetting. Happy anniversary, guys. Good times. It's a big bash still going on.
Oh, it's always going on. They're all just going on forever.
I have actually been looking. I was just scanning quickly for cricket news, and there is this article here saying why no DRS or wides and high no balls. Were we not just discussing that? I think we were just discussing that. Um, righto. So I think that's our cricket chat. Have you got any other cricket to add?
No, no, it's a lot of cricket, isn't it?
It's, not-
Bit too much.
it's too much cricket. When do England next
Like,
play?
like especially when we're a Lord of the Rings podcast.
Oh, it's true. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, we're just jumping right into it.
Yeah, of course.
So
Straight into the
yeah, yeah,
not
yeah.
cricket.
So very recently, the Invaser
Mm.
group who own Middle Earth Enterprises made a new multi-year deal with Warner Brothers for them to continue to produce Middle Earth films based on the Hobbit, the Lord of the Rings, and the appendices from the Lord of the Rings, which is interesting. They've already got War of the Rohirrim, which is about Helm Hammerhand in the works, which is an anime. They've got, I believe, Howard Shore back composing that. They've got Miranda Otto back to do a bit of narrating as Eowyn. Now they're going to be maybe making more films, and if they go into the Hobbit, there's this weird sort of thing where they can produce the film, but MGM
Oh yeah.
are the only ones able to distribute the film.
Yeah.
And who owns MGM? But our favorite Rings of Power owners, Amazon.
But isn't it with the Hobbit with that is does that I think it basically means that the Hobbit's never going to happen, isn't it? Because
I
they
mean,
can't
it's too
distribute it
soon
if
for
they
it.
can't write it. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
but there's no way unless the rights change that you're ever going to get a Hobbit film again in the foreseeable future because logistically that it just can't.
I mean,
Because if you're going to produce it one team, you're not going to then say to another rival, you can distribute it and also get money for not basically making the film,
it was
unless
almost
you
a,
just do a merge. I don't know.
yeah, it was almost like having the two companies involved while making the Hobbit trilogy was a bad idea in the first
I
place.
don't know, maybe.
Maybe it led to the original director, Guillermo del Toro, quitting and forcing Peter Jackson to make
Here's
a
a
trilogy
question
of films within the
which you
space
didn't
of
want to make.
2 weeks.
Yeah. Do you prefer Taliel or Halbrand? Who does a new character better?
Oh God. Technically, Hellbrand's not a new character.
I mean, technically, but I mean, the Halbrand concept, I suppose.
It's weird because Evangeline Lilly is a Tolkien fan. She went into the film with like the express idea she wouldn't be in a love triangle and said she wouldn't be in it if there was that sort of thing. The producers and the studios get back and they put the love triangle in. I, I, it's well hard to choose. I, oh, fuck me, dude. I think, just the Hellbrand reveal of being Sauron was a bit
Mm,
heavy-handed. It was, well, if he's not, there was the issue of if he's not Sauron, then you're building him up to be Sauron with so many hints, which feels wrong. But if he is Sauron, then you're making your main character, who is one of the most intelligent and
yeah,
well-respected, or should be, elves in the whole of the mythos, in Galadriel. And
yeah,
uh, I have less issue with Tauriel because
yeah.
I
I'd agree.
don't think it's anything to do with writing
Yeah,
or
and I
the
don't think
actor. Not
other
that
than
how like it was
I'd
producer like specific. With Hellbrand, I think it's a mess with the writing and like their issues with like that mystery box. Like, oh, who's Sauron? Is it this dude who's clearly Gandalf, or
yeah,
is it Gilgalad? He's a bit of a dick now. He might be Sauron. Is it, I don't know, fucking Adar? He's a eel-looking
oh yeah, who they've had
bloke
to
controlling
recast.
orcs. Yeah, I don't know.
Great, good time.
But yeah, uh,
Okay, I'd agree. I'd
yeah.
agree. Um,
Are you how like optimistic or pessimistic are you about them making new films?
well, I guess it depends what they do because I'm fairly confident in saying that they won't remake the Lord of the Rings. I just think that's a obviously bad move, but even from a studio exec money grabbing Warner Brothers, having experience of them, I think even they would be no, because you they would know the fan base of those films. And the fact they've kept Peter Jackson, and not to say that it's going to be Peter Jackson involved, but the fact they kept Peter Jackson in a loop, I would say it's going to be more films set in that world of continuity than it would be redoing them. And I think that's what people would like. It doesn't work in some cases, like Fantastic Beasts is a whole hot garbage, and that's still set in the same continuity as Harry Potter. But with Lord of the Rings, you obviously got so much more scope and world and characters you can play with, which makes more sense than doing some stupid Newt Scamander film. I'm never bitter about this. So I think fundamentally it's weird because you can't really it'd be odd to me for them to also rival Amazon and do Rings of Power stories.
Yeah.
Which means I don't really know my knowledge as well as I should, I guess, from like appendices, what they can use and what they can't use. So I guess my question to you would be, what is a foreseeable thing they could do? The one thing I've seen mentioned a lot would be kind of a war in the north, which can happen canonically alongside the Lord of the Rings events, or a Witch King series, not series, I guess trilogy of films, with the Agmar uprising. Those are the two I've seen bounced about.
I think the most likely are War in the North because you get like bits of Erebor, bits of Lake Town in there, and the Angmar Wars. I think if I were doing it, I would lean into the Angmar Wars and like the founding of Rohan because they're making the anime for the War of Rohirrim, and they've got Miranda Otto coming back. I think going Angmar Wars and like showing the inception of like Glorfindel's curse to the Witch King, that no man will slay him would be pretty cool. It's not like a really direct link with the two films, but because you've got that leaning into Merry and Eowyn killing the Witch King and Eowyn's involvement in the other film, it's a subtle tie-in, which I think would work nicely.
Yeah. And I think from an exec's point of view, you want something that people recognize.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's all well and good to do new stuff, but if you got like the Witch King, it's so iconic, the look.
Exactly.
And that would sell.
In one of the later final battles, there are some hobbits that enter the Angmar Wars, so they don't have to like just shove them in because Tolkien.
Hobbits.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I don't think anyone else would do that. They wouldn't.
No.
Think people would need an obvious reference to Tolkien to realize it's a Middle Earth adaptation.
I guess this is going off a little bit, but do you think it's a good or bad thing that potentially going to have two separate Lord of the Rings projects running simultaneously? Like you could have a Lord of the Rings film come out, hypothetically in the same month that a new series or episode of Rings of Power comes out.
I mean, in theory, it's a good idea because you've got like competing factions they're trying to outdo each other essentially. So if
you can do it best,
Warner's smashes War of the Rohirrim, Rings of Power has to up the game for season 2. I don't think they will, and I think that's where the issue is. I think who's handling the IP is damaging it more than there being two individual pieces.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Like, I'm kind of concerned. I don't know. I wouldn't mind a young Aragorn film.
Because I think,
if they end with the part of Elrond telling him his name is Aragorn, and throughout the film his name is Estelle.
Yeah.
Maybe even the audience don't know this is a young Aragorn film. Or like,
what about that ending of The Hobbit where it's like you have to find out the name yourself, Legolas?
That's how they can tie it in. Like, right? They can bring Orlando Bloom
into
like the Estelle film.
Yeah, I think
And
because you look at that, and I think people will be like, "Oh, just a young Aragorn film, rubbish." Like, no, because he goes through so much as young Aragorn.
yeah,
I
like
think there's a story there.
he's in Gondor under a different name at some point.
Yeah,
He's obviously in Rohan where he meets a young Theoden.
yeah.
He has a
I
bit
think
of
that could be great. That makes
yeah,
legs. I think
yeah,
you
a bit
get
of
to see all
bands
these
with
locations.
Elrond's twin sons, which
Yeah,
like they've never been shown on screen before, so that could be
yeah.
fun.
And you can kill them
Uh,
off so they don't come into the. But yeah, I think those are the three. I think potentially Aragorn is probably the one they would go with if I was Warner Brothers.
yeah, I,
Um,
I think it's either Angmar Wars, War in the North, or Young Aragorn. I don't have an issue with any of them, but
no.
I would like Angmar Wars
I think that'd
because
be the most interesting because it's a
yeah,
bit more far removed.
exactly.
And it's not whimsical hobbit-tiness
Until the very end when they come in
to the
with
very end and they
weapons
die.
and kill orcs.
I tell you what, though, it'd be great because for me, because I've played a lot of the Battle of Middle Earth games. This is so niche. Who is even listening to this and thinking and know they know this? There's the Battle of Middle Earth 2. They do a second, basically DLC game, which is the Rise of the Witch King, which is all about the Agmar Wars. Um, so I got all my knowledge from that, and you do have hobbits come and attack you. So this is a little knowledge I know, but that I feel like that's very faithful. I need to dig it up and play it again. But for me, that'll be very nostalgia heavy, and I'll be like, I can understand this. um, I would recommend if we can find a way for you to play. I would recommend. Right, I think we're running out of time, pals.
Yay.
But that was our Lord of the Rings chat and our special anniversary, just not cricket podcast and some cricket chat. Hooray! We'll be back, but quickly, Jamie, where can people find us?
It's just not Quick Pod, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Go subscribe. We've got some weird bloke comment or other podcast commenting.
We
Don't
do
let
got
him be the
friends.
only one. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, hi
Thanks.
friends. If you're listening again, comment again so we know you're listening.
Yeah. Go
um,
make sure they're not lonely and comment as well and like and
yeah,
subscribe.
we'll be back next time where I think we'll be previewing our first cricket game of the season, which is going to be ooh scary. Who knows? Right. Tally ho.
Bye.
Bye bye.
We're not rushing because we have no time left.
Never.